Well, 3 weeks left, and you're still kind of searching for
Yep.
that consistency.
Well, consistency's it, and we'll play a good quarter, and then we'll lose our composure, and so that's what we're still trying to. And you can tell we miss Acacia on the floor, but I felt like we had taken a step forward when we got to play at home, and then we got on the road, and it just kind of right back where we were, and then we'll play a good stretch, and then we'll come back out, and despite what we've worked on or what we're talking about, what we're trying, we kind of lose our either our confidence or our composure, whichever you want to look at it, and just really come apart. So we just got to keep working at it. There's no advantage to being negative about it. There's no advantage to berating anyone. You just got to keep working at it. And we talk about perseverance, and that perseverance builds trust and belief, and that you've got to learn how not to quit, and that you really only get better through perseverance. And so that's where we are right now.
I mean, that consistency can even be summed up in those games. You have the big lead in the first game, and then they come back, and in the second game you get behind and make the run late. It's almost like if you could put those two halves together, there's
Exactly.
the game. But
And even in the first game, we talked at halftime, the 2 points that I made at halftime, one, we weren't rebounding. We had a lead, but it's a little bit, you had to be cautious because we were not rebounding. And Ascende, I think, had 10 rebounds, I believe, in the first half. And so we weren't doing a good job on the boards. And second, keep your composure. Do not get caught up in the chippiness. Those are the two things that maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe I was saying it made it worse. But yeah, and then we had, in watching the film, I knew we had a lot. And watching the film, we had 11 turnovers in the third quarter. And it wasn't one. It's this one makes two, and this one, and it's just, and it seems a snowball, and we can't kind of regain our composure despite even using timeouts and trying to get us to stay focused on the task at hand. And that's our challenge right now, is to show some mental maturity and be able to handle some adversity without letting it detract or get us off our track of what we're trying to get accomplished.
you do have three of the Final
Right.
Four at home, which is a good thing, but
It's a three- the
kind
three-
of a bear of a schedule.
And it's the three best teams in the conference, and so it is. It's a challenge, but it's not as much our opponent. I mean, obviously we've got a big game with Middle Tennessee here, a lot of great promotions. It's a red-out game. Kids get to be active in the game, so there'll be some great things that are there. But it's not as much about the opponent as it is about us. And playing and doing the things that we work on, the things that we practice, and staying mentally focused throughout the game.
You mentioned Acacia. I know it's still Monday, and you got a whole week, which maybe that's a good thing, having a whole week this week to kind of get her. How close do you? I mean, did you kind of hoping to have her by Saturday? Or?
I know she's moving better. I know she's feeling better. I also know she hasn't practiced or played in a few weeks now, and so I know she's getting reevaluated today. But it's she's not ready to play. She hasn't practiced. She hasn't done any basketball. Now I'll tell you what she has done, and it's been great. It's been awesome. She's been the most positive, vocal person on the bench every game. She's present in film. She's encouraging. Like, she's been a tremendous teammate throughout this. And so even though she's not able to play, she's been a big positive role on the bench.
ESPN game, kind of a chance to put the brand out there on the national stage, but again, it's a big opponent, an opponent that's been playing really well.
They have, and I'd love for us to be playing better. It'd be nice if we were shooting the ball better. I was talking to Lillian beforehand. Before Christmas, we were not just good, we were the best free throw shooting team in the conference, and now we're about third or fourth combining. And so if you just took conference, then we're not. And so we're not doing a lot of things, a lot of little things well, taking care of the ball, making free throws, finishing layups, and even our three-point field goal percentage has dropped. Now, we had a good first half shooting a three ball against New Mexico State, New Mexico State, and actually shot the three better than we shot the twos, and in the first half. But then I know in the fourth quarter, I think we were 0 for 5 or 0 for 6 from a three. And so it's that consistency. It's player by player, game by game, quarter by quarter, just trying to find that consistency.
The way it sets up down the stretch here, you've got the 1 week with the trip to Louisiana, but basically it's one game.
Right.
Do you like having that opportunity to maybe work on some stuff in practice, or would you rather like try to work this out and work on those little things in game situations?
We're spending even more time on just fundamental stuff in practice, and so that part is good. Now, some of it's, even though we're doing it in practice, it still hasn't carried over to the games, and so we'll continue doing what we're doing, and believing that it's going to take place in the game, that we're going to be fundamentally sound with the ball in the game, that we're going to choose good assisted shots, and then we're going to knock some of those down, and that we're going to box out and get rebounded. We rebounded a little bit better in New Mexico State. I think it was even on the boards at the end of the game, but we need some of those interior players to be more present on the boards.
Do you feel with those fundamental things, with them being so close to it, if you just get one of those things right, it's just going to snowball, like it's going to start clicking with the other things like rebounding, defensive positioning, things like that? Do you feel that, if you get one thing right, this team starts getting rolling, it's going to be a dangerous team?
I think some of it, yes. Some of it, yes. A lot of the shooting's confidence. We see, if you see that three-point shot go in, you feel more confident about the next one. You see free throws go in, you feel more confident about the next one. So I think some of that, yes. Some of the things I think takes a little bit more time are the fundamental, jump, stop, don't charge. Jump, stop, don't try to Euro step your way. Like, just be fundamental and making sure to make a simple pass. You don't have to make a spectacular pass. You just got to make the simple pass to the open player. Some of those decisions take a little bit more reps. But yes, I agree that I think if we can see, we shot free throws real well here against it's either Jacksonville State or Louisiana Tech. I can't, obviously those are the last two. But we shot free throws real well in the second half there, and really took care of the game because we were doing that. And then we've gotten a spot where we couldn't make a free throw. So I think some of that, yes, if we'll see that ball go in, have some success, that kind of breeds a little bit more confidence in your game. There's some fundamental things I think we still got to work on.
One of the things we have seen, though, with the Keisha out, with the depth and stuff, not that she wasn't already a big contributor, but it feels like Alexis has kind of stepped her game up even more in that absence. It's got to be good to see that 3-year starter step in and do that and kind of take the reins a little bit like she has in this stretch, even when she's not even at 100%.
Right. She has. She's been a good leader on the floor. She stepped up her scoring, but we need more contributions from everyone else as well. And so she has. We're kind of gotten a spot where we need her on the floor just about all 40 minutes. And we've tried some other ways to get her some breaks. We've tried some other alignments. We've tried some other players in that spot. That hasn't gone as well. So we have to continue to lean heavily on Alexis for that. But we need everyone else to be able to help her in that role.
Going back to the UTEP game, just something that I kind of noticed, obviously having that lead at halftime and then coming out. I mean, we've seen these teams who have just caught a huge spark in the second half, and what that can do. Obviously, you can't take your foot off the gas, or next thing you know, it'll be a tie ball game. One thing that I kind of did realize, kind of going off with Lexi, I know that obviously her being that leader on the court, not having Acacia, sometimes it seems like she feels like maybe she has to be the one that has to step up, which is a lot of responsibility. Some things that I kind of noticed, which we've talked about it a million times, is being able to get those shots and assisted shots and being able to pass the ball, and rather than it kind of leaning on one person to make shots and they're throwing up threes from
trying to create it off the dribble.
Yeah, trying to just do something by themselves rather than having the whole team contribute.
Yes, and you're exactly right. Like and it's tough. Lexi's got as much fight in her as anybody. As much fight as somebody that's 6'5", much less somebody that's 5'5", and so she does, and she wants to do it by herself. But she really has to be able to use and involve the whole team. And what happens is sometimes that ball gets over there, and that becomes a turnover. And so we had that stretch at UTEP where, if you make much less 10 turnovers, you make 5 turnovers in a quarter, you're not going to have a good quarter. And so when you lose that composure and it's turnover, you don't even get shot attempts. And so, and now, to her credit, she tries to wheel us back into these to games. And, you know, and even at New Mexico, she's really playing, she's playing a lot more minutes than she played last year. I think one of the things that we did better last year that we can't do right now is we had some substitutes in that role. So she didn't play as many minutes. So she was a little bit fresher and a little bit sharper, had a little bit better, more edge, and not necessarily just trying to play through fatigue or injury. And so we need Lex in that role. We need everybody else to kind of be a little bit more settled with the ball. And sometimes just, you don't have to force anything if you'll just play with your teammates. And then we need to be much more aggressive on the boards. And that we can't, you can survive a breakdown or a deficiency in an area. You could possibly not be the best rebounding team that night. You can still win. You might not be the best free throw shooting team that night. You could still win. Maybe you don't shoot the ball well from a three-point line. You could still win. Not if you make a whole lot of turnovers, but you could still survive some. You can't mess up in all those areas and still be able to win ball games. And so I think we've got to shoot the ball better at the free throw line. We've got to take care of the ball, and we've got to move the ball and not have Lexi feel like she's got to be the one to get a shot off by herself. And then we just need to make some open shots. That would help a whole lot. You've always heard it. Shooting heals a lot of ills, and so if we can make some shots, that would help a whole lot.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys.